Old woman, I think I'm going to be cutting ties to you now.
Huh? What are you going on about now? Did something happen to you, Hope?
This isn't about what's happened to me, Mom. This is about keeping things from ever having to happen. And that's why I no longer want anything to do with you. I'm going to get married, so I have a new life coming to me.
Oh, is that right? Congratulations, Hope. It makes me so happy inside to hear that my own little baby is finally going to be getting married. That's just so wonderful for you, as the man you're with right now seems like a true gentleman. So I can see you both being really happy with one another forever.
Well, all he really is a nice man that happens to have a lot of money to his name.
Huh?
His looks aren't all that good, so I'd have to say that he'd be a 4 out of 10 if not for that wealth. But because of all that money I've seen on him, he's a 10 out of 10. So that's why, after we have our wedding, I can give up on having to work any lousy jobs anymore and be a stay-at-home wife. I'll have the most relaxing life ever being his housewife. I'm so glad to see that I won't have to walk the same path that my poor and depressing mom has had to go down.
Wait, what you said just then is a bit too rude, right? That just made me feel a little sad inside, Hope. I've been doing a wonderful job as a mother, raising both you and your older brother without a man to help me out. So are you trying to say to me that you don't feel any kind of thanks towards what I've done for you?
Thanks towards you, huh? All I've been thinking about is how I'm finally going to have the chance to cut ties to my low-life mother. I don't feel any form of thanks, and all I want to feel is the loss of my mother. I'm not even able to rely on you for anything anymore, and that means I don't want you asking me for anything.
Are you actually being serious about cutting ties to me? You think that just because you're going to be married, you can just cut off your own mom? Or are you really trying to say that you don't give a crap about me as your mom?
You already know the answer to those questions. I really don't care for you at all, and I just can't stand being around you anymore. All you're doing by being my mother now is staining my image.
I can understand you forgetting a lot of the sacrifices I've had to make birthing and raising you when you were younger. But you saying all these really hurtful things to me now when you're supposed to be acting like an adult is just heart-wrenching.
I never needed you to sacrifice anything for me back then, Mom. By the way, you're getting into your 50s now, yet you're still working as a traffic conductor? Are you embarrassed to be standing on the streets all day working at your age? It even makes me feel embarrassed knowing that you're out there doing such a sickening job at your age.
I don't feel any kind of embarrassment from what I do. I actually happen to really enjoy the job and am confident in it. I get that there are times where the work can be tough for me considering I'm getting old, but I still find it a good job. I put my all into this work, and I don't want to be called a lowlife for working a job like this.
That kind of thinking is so gross, and it's making me want to vomit even. I'll make it very clear to you right now that I don't want a lowlife woman like you coming to my wedding.
You don't even want me at your wedding? You're telling me that you're going to cut ties to me and that you don't want me at your wedding. Are you trying to make your own mother cry? Have you even had a chance to think about how your words might be hurting me?
I'm telling you that I can't deal with some traffic conductor or whatever you are showing up in my life anymore. I was lucky that my brother ended up showing me to one of his friends that then ended up being my soon-to-be husband. And now I'll be able to be treated well for the rest of my life. The man I'm marrying's parents run their own company. And right now, they are talking about giving the company to him soon, and that'll mean I get to be the wife of a CEO.
And I think that's very good news for you. But does that give you any reason to be talking poorly about me? I'm your mom after all, and I should be treated with way more respect than this.
I'm seen as being a perfect match for my man's family, and having someone like you still tied to me is just awful. I didn't even bother asking you to come and meet his parents when we all got together.
What? Has all of that already happened then?
It sure has, Mom. but we had no desire of you coming along to see them. And I mean, I'm going to be cutting ties to you anyway, so it's not like you really need to see them.
You have to stop talking about wanting to cut ties to me, okay? Why would anyone do that to their mother when nothing's ever happened to warrant such a choice? You think that just because your man has money and because you think I'm some kind of lost cause, you can cut ties to me? Don't you feel terrible saying such things to your mom?
I've been telling you how I feel about all of this pretty clearly, right? I don't even want a lowlife like you coming to my wedding to see us. And after the wedding, I'm cutting ties to you, and so is the rest of his family. You can go run off somewhere and live by yourself, you lost cause of an old traffic conductor.
If you're going to keep it up with all of those heartless phrases, then I think I'm going to reach my breaking point, Hope. So are you really telling me that this is what you're wanting to say to me?
You already know that I'm wanting to say all of this. I do not want anything to do with a low-life old woman. And the moment that I marry and have my wedding, things between us will be over. So just stay away from my wedding, would you?
Are you really okay with this?
You're starting to get on my nerves here. How many more times are you going to ask me if I'm okay with what I've said? If an old hag like you, who doesn't even work a needed job, comes to my wedding, you'll embarrass us all. And beware that there won't even be a seat for you at our very luxurious wedding.
All right, then. I won't go.
And don't forget that after, we are going to be no more.
You're asking me to not come to your wedding, so don't even worry about me being around you anymore. But you're the one asking for us to cut ties, so I'll make sure of that. Hope, are you really certain about this? You're fine with losing me as your mom?
I have told you already that of course I'm certain. I'll finally be able to live the life of my dreams now that you're no longer holding me back.
Well, that's just wonderful. Then you go right ahead and live that life you've always dreamed of. I can see you care about nothing regarding all the blood and sweat I've given for you. And so I'll do the same with you, and forget about you ever being my sweet little girl. This'll be horrible. Goodbye forever, then, Hope. Make sure you never come back asking for my help, okay?
Who would ask you for anything? I should be saying that to you, you lowlife.
I recommend that from now on you don't call a stranger something like that, as it's not good manners. But it's not like you'll be talking to me anymore anyway, right? What do you want with me?
Mom! Are you able to come to the wedding right now?
I don't remember having a daughter named Hope in my family, so can you please tell me again what you want with me?
You don't have to keep acting like that anymore. Your daughter is in a bit of a tough spot right now, so can you come? Hurry up and get here, please. To my wedding.
Before you were telling me not to come to your wedding and that both you and I were no longer family, right? So I'm only doing as you've asked for me, and there shouldn't be any complaints about that, right?
I told you that you could forget about all of that now. I'm sorry that I happened to talk a little too much with you last time. But today is the day of my wedding, okay? You have to be here for your daughter's wedding.
Listen, Hope, you need to cut the crap right now. I no longer think of you as my daughter anymore, and that means I'm not going to go to your wedding. So now tell me why you're even bothering to text me in the first place right now.
The reason is that my husband's family is all upset with me right now because you never showed up to my wedding. I'm not sure why they would care at all about you being here or not, but they're telling me that if you don't come, they're not going to let the wedding happen.
And that would be right of them. A long while back, I was the one that saved your husband's father from a terrible car accident. And the only reason you're getting married to his son now is because of me. I was the one that thought his son would be a perfect match for what was my cute little daughter.
Huh? What are you going on about? What story is that? I heard that he was introduced to me by my brother.
I know that already. But we only said all of that so that you didn't feel like you were being forced to date him by your mother. You decided it was better to have your older brother say he was a friend of his in order to keep all of that under wraps for a while. You're the only one that's believed that this whole time, while everyone else knows that I was the one that recommended you to his son. Normally, they would have never let someone like you, who never had any accomplishments in or after school, or ever worked a proper job before, marry their son. But because I told them that you were a wonderful daughter and that you'd be just like me, a selfless and family-focused woman, they agreed to let their son meet you.
What? So you're telling me this is all because of you that I'm finally with someone who's going to marry me?
That's right, Hope. But I know that you won't ever believe what I'm saying here. And you probably can't even imagine something like this ever happening to you.
Well, I never knew about this before. Why didn't anyone tell me something like this happened?
You never really cared to listen to anything I've told you in the past 5 years, so why waste my time talking to you about it when someone else could? I knew you'd never listen, and that's why I just let you be.
Well, yeah, I probably wouldn't have ever listened to what you had to say about it. But it doesn't matter now. I understand what's happened. Now, can you come here and see us? I'm telling you, it's all right to come to my wedding now.
Why are you asking me that like everything's all fine and dandy now?
Huh?
You are no longer my child, and I'm not your mother. So it's not happening. I seriously never thought that my own daughter would be as bad as you. Someone that looks down on others for the work they do when you don't even have a proper job of your own. You were never this ruthless when you were a little girl, Hope. But you are just so screwed up now that I can't handle talking to you about anything anymore.
Hold on a second, Mom. Can you calm down a little? What the hell are you trying to say to me right now? Are you actually still upset with me after what happened a while ago?
It's not that I'm upset with you about it. Rather, I've just had enough of you and your selfish attitude. You act like a total witch who doesn't give a care in the world for anyone besides herself and will only want me around when she needs me. I've been the one to raise you for more than 20 years now, Hope. Yet you haven't shown me any ounce of gratitude for any of the effort I put into you. All you have to show for my effort now is saying you want to cut ties to me because you found yourself a man with lots of money. That is so messed up that I cannot even believe what I've heard from you still.
I'm sorry. I suppose I did go a little too far by saying that. But I never said any of that to you with the means of hurting you. I'm sorry that I got a little carried away and said some rude things.
It's too late now to apologize to me for any of that. I no longer want to think of you as a part of my family anymore. And after today, I promise you that I'm never going to have anything to do with you again.
What? Are you for real? Don't say such hurtful things like that to me. If you don't come and see my wedding, there will be no more wedding for us to be at. That will really make things bad for my situation.
Why do you think I care about your situation?
Well, because if your daughter is in a bad situation, you'll feel bad for me as well, right? So that's why you need to hurry up and get over here. You don't want for your daughter's wedding to be canceled because you didn't show, right?
I don't care what happens to your wedding, actually. And can you stop it with calling yourself my daughter and things like that? You are not my daughter and never have been.
What? You're going to be that mean to me now?
Who was the one that started all of this by being so mean to me? I forgot, but wasn't it you that's been a little witch to me for a long time now? At first I thought you were just having a couple of bad days, and that's why I never bothered to ask what was wrong. But even after graduating from high school, you've been very rude to me and given me the cold shoulder. And the fact that I still cared for you even after you turned 18 with no thanks in return was embarrassing for me. I really was a bad mother for doing that for you. But it's been because of me being a bad mother to you that you were able to get married to that man. This low-life mother of yours happened to save someone's life and in return give you a chance at having a husband.
Are you really that mad at me for calling you a lowlife? I get it, Mom, and I'm sorry that I said such a thing about you. How many more times do you want me to say I'm sorry for all of that? I never said any of that to put you in a bad mood or anything, okay?
Then why were you saying such hurtful things like that to me? My whole life I've gone on hearing all sorts of hurtful things from people. What you were saying about me was the worst I've ever had the misfortune of hearing. But it's not like I care anymore about all of that because you're no longer my daughter.
I told you not to say that about me. I'm still your daughter, right? You shouldn't even be trying to ruin your own daughter's wedding right now, because that's not what moms do. You get what I'm saying to you, right?
I have no idea what you keep going on about. And I don't care to understand. If you think you can be married to him without my help, then go ahead. But just know that I'm not there to help you anymore. I want to become a complete stranger to you now. And I've already moved back to my parents' house.
What? You moved back there?
So, that means if there is a chance that your husband does throw you out, you won't have anywhere to run home to. And don't forget that your brother is also upset with you.
He's mad at me now, too?
He has no plans of coming to your wedding now either. And he doesn't plan to hang out with you anymore, the same as me.
So not only are you mad at me, but he is as well? I never even did anything that bad besides say a few rude words, right?
You might think that what you did doesn't mean much to anyone, but you ended up doing something that will end up even hurting those that are strangers to you. Now, if you understand what I've meant, can you please leave me alone?
I do understand you, Mom, and right now I feel so sorry for what I've done and want to fix all of this. So can you please come here and help my wedding get moving? Please, Mom. I know that I screwed up by saying what I said to you, and I promise that I'll never call you a lowlife or anything close to that ever again.
It's too late for that, Hope. If you've really learned that what you've done is wrong, then use your new understanding to do better after all of this. I know that you don't have a family anymore, but I'm sure there will be someone in your future willing to be around you, as long as you have learned from this.
What? Are you really planning on just disowning your own daughter like this?
How many times are you going to ask me if I'm being serious about this? You were the one that asked for this, so you should be thrilled that I'm gone now. So leave me alone, please. I told you never to ask me for anything, right? Goodbye forever now. It would be a miracle if your wedding was still to happen after this.
In the end, the wedding that Hope was supposed to have with her husband was canceled, and that completely sent her into a deep depression. And following that, her marriage fell apart as well with her husband, and she lost the right to ever go into his house. Not only did she lose her husband, but her brother and her mother as well. And that left Hope with very little hope in the end. Her mom did as she had asked and cut ties to Hope completely, and then went and apologized to the family of the groom. And as a gift of good standing between the two families, they ended up giving her a new job within their company, where she'd be able to retire in a few years with a nice package. So she ended up ending things with a lovely life, where she could feel safe living alone in her house. Where someone like Hope ended up losing all her family and was with nothing more than the clothes on her back in the open road. In other words, she's homeless and without money. It's safe to say that things you should never say to your family should definitely never be said to any strangers either. But Hope went against that, and this is her outcome.